Hey, what's up you guys? Matt Thibeau here with Savant Marketing Agency. And in this video, we're going to talk about the 5 common misconceptions that most contractors have with online advertising. So in this video, I'm going to break down these 5 things that most people will have a misconception about. They don't commonly understand maybe some of these things I'm going to talk about. And sometimes they're just like myths, and sometimes there is some truth to it. So today we're going to jump right into things here. Give me 1 sec, my notes just fell. All right, so the first common misconception is that all advertising is created equally. So the thing is that anybody can go out and pay for advertising, right? Advertising, like I explained on my last video, it's literally just paying for media, right? So think of advertising as a vehicle to get you to go somewhere, right? So advertising is the vehicle that will deliver a message to a target market. But all advertising is not created equal, right? Like just because you paid for advertising, let's say you put in $3,000 in advertising. That does not mean that that advertising is the same as other advertising for $3,000, because what is the message that's being said in that advertising, right? Because just a small little tweak in messaging can make all the difference in a marketing campaign. Example, let's say that you pay for 5,000 door hangers to go out, and you send these door hangers out, and the offer that you put on there is 10% off all our services this month. Well, if you do a drastically different offer on your door hangers, let's say that you do those 5,000 and then you do the same people, it's called a split test, you do the same people with a different offer, and let's say that you put out 5,000 door hangers and it says, hey, we're offering like a free color consultation. I guarantee you there will be different results to those door hangers because there's a different message being presented on those door hangers, right? And so that proves that not all advertising is created equal. Just because you're spending the same amount of money on advertising doesn't mean that it's going to yield the same exact impact, right? The reason I say this is because oftentimes we'll talk to contractors and they'll say, oh no, I'm spending money on advertising. It's like, okay, what are you saying in that advertising? Like, what is the messaging that's going out? Because if you're spending XYZ amount on advertising and it's not getting the results you want, then what is being said on that? What is the message, right? Because not all advertising is created equal. And so advertising is simply a vehicle that your message gets in to be able to deliver to your target audience. So not all advertising is created equal. Various different advertising can do various different things, right? We see on the Super Bowl ads, that's a very different type of advertising that is designed for a specific purpose compared to what you should be thinking about for your contracting business. So not all advertising is created equal, and you need to understand that, and you need to understand that the message on the advertising is what really matters. All right, second misconception are that ads run themselves. So for some reason, I'm not sure why, but there's this false belief, especially in the contracting world, that ads run themselves. That basically like you can set up Facebook ads and Google ads and like just set it and forget it, not look at it, and like they'll just run themselves and that's all you need to do. I'm not sure where this belief came from. It might come from just kind of like the fact that maybe the ads will continue to run, but it doesn't mean that they're going to continue to perform in an optimal way for your business. And so just because you can turn an ad on and you don't have to look at it all the time to keep it running, doesn't mean that it's actually running itself. It will spend your money, but it's not actually going to be working for you 24/7 if you don't look at it. And so the reason that ads don't run themselves are for multiple different reasons. The first is that people just get tired of seeing the same ad over and over again. So if you're showing the same ad over and over again to the same people and you don't do anything new with it, people are going to get tired of seeing that ad. It's called ad fatigue. And basically what this is going to do is drop the number of people inquiring about your services, and that's going to raise the cost of the ads. Another problem, if you're not running your ads or looking at them or maintaining them, is that you will eventually get a competitor come in with a different or better message than you, and your ads will no longer be as effective, right? So if someone comes in with a message based on your ad that like one-ups your offer, or is just more congruent with like current times, the message makes more sense, then your ad is no longer going to be effective, right? Like, for example, if you're running an ad for like quotes and then COVID's going on, right? Let's go back in time. A lot of people were changing their messaging to, hey, we're offering contactless free quotes. At least here in Canada, people were doing that because it was crazy. So that is a good example of adjusting your messaging, and you need to constantly be doing that, especially if your business is more seasonal, like you're in landscaping or lawn care or something outside. You're going to need to be constantly changing your messaging, and you can't do that if you're just trying to let your ads run themselves, quote unquote, right? And there's multiple different things that are going to go in the way of, like, if you're just trying to let your ads run themselves, you're going to run them into the ground. And so I just want to dispel that belief that like you cannot just leave your ads running indefinitely. Maybe you could get away with it for like a month, but after that, you're definitely going to see your ad costs rise. And the reality of it too is that if you're not innovating your advertising and marketing and trying to get cheaper clients, acquire new clients cheaper, then eventually you're going to be going backwards. Like, if you're not growing, you're dying, the old saying, right? And so the market is always changing. So if your marketing is not getting more efficient, then you are going to fall behind. And so this is something that should be constantly looked at, constantly monitored, and there should always be a budget allocated for testing so that you can get more efficient in your marketing, because new tests in your marketing are how you're going to have those breakthroughs and find cheaper ways to acquire the same client. So that was another misconception. Third misconception is that ads are only for new companies. I hear this like frequently, and again, I'm not sure why this has become a belief, but some contractors believe that doing advertising online is only if you're like a new business and you need a bit of a kickstart to be able to get leads and stuff like that. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Why do you think that big brands like Coca-Cola or Nike or any of these huge brands like McDonald's do advertising? It's because advertising is the most reliable way to be able to put your brand in front of your target market and constantly remind them of your product. A lot of contractors right now are relying much too heavily on referrals and word of mouth, marketing in their existing funnel to be able to acquire clients. And I'm telling you right now, that is a dangerous mindset to have as we're going into a tougher economy, because the reality is, if you don't have any outbound marketing strategies to acquire new clients at will, then when the market slows down, you will see a dip in your sales. If you're only relying on just like the goodwill and nature and referrals of other people, and you don't have a reliable way to bring in new business, if you're a bigger company, that's going to be dangerous for you, because when things get tough out there, then you're not going to have a way to reliably bring new people in. And so advertising is not for new businesses. Advertising is a reliable and strategic method to be able to acquire new clients at will. So if anything, if you're a more mature business and you're growing, you need advertising, because it's a missing piece of the puzzle to be able to acquire clients at will so you can keep hiring and you can keep the machine going. If you're a brand new business, advertising is definitely important. But if you're a mature business, it's also equally as important as well. And this is why, again, bigger brands are over advertising, is because they understand that in order to stay top of mind, protect their brand equity, they have to advertise. All right, that was the fourth misconception. Third, we're falling behind here. Next one is going to be advertising only attracts tire kickers. sometimes I'll hear this one as well. The people who typically will say this, where they say like, hey, advertising just only gets tire kickers, it's usually because they're only used to getting referrals where people are extremely familiar with what they do and like they're close to them, they're friends with them, or like friends of a friend and they know them well. And so when they experience advertising and they get a lead from someone who doesn't know them, they associate that as being someone who's a tire kicker. Now, that's the furthest thing from the truth. What it really means, if you think this, is that it means you don't have a real sales process in your business. Because if you can't take someone who's a complete stranger but interested in working with you, if you can't take them from, hey, I'm interested in getting this done, to a signed deal and working with them, that means there's something in your sales process that's broken. And most contractors don't have a real sales process in their business. They're used to relying on the fact that someone wants to work with them enough that is going to overlook some of the disorganization in their process and just relying on that person's word and like following along, right? But the reality is that if you're advertising, you need to learn what's called appointment setting. You need to get good at asking someone, hey, we'd be happy to help you out. What's your name and number? We'd be happy to give you a call. Go over the call of what they're interested in, qualify them a bit. Perfect, sounds good. We'll show up to the estimate, bring them through an estimate, present everything, ask for the order, collect the payment, blah, 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 right? And most contractors don't have an actual rinse and repeat sales process, and so they associate advertising with tire kickers. But really what it is that it's exposing in your business a problem you have with appointment setting and your sales process. The biggest companies in the world, especially in construction, are very, very good at appointment setting and booking estimates, right? They know how to be able to bring someone from point A to point B, close that deal, and bring them through their process. And so the better that you get at appointment setting and sales, the more effective your advertising is going to be, and you're not going to be just associate people coming to you who don't know you as being a tire kicker. All right, and then we've got the last one here is that ads are expensive. This is the last misconception I'm going to talk about. So some contractors will say advertising is just too expensive to be able to do. And there's really two things I'm going to say to this. The first thing is that in compared to what, right? Because it's all just relative. I mean, if you spend XYZ amount on ads, but the amount that you get back is double or triple that, is it really expensive? Or is it just that maybe it's a little bit nerve-wracking to do it without knowing that like what's on the flip side? And I totally get that. But the thing is with advertising is that any amount of money that you put out there for your brand, if your ideal clients are seeing it and you're putting out a message, that money is money well spent. It's very, very similar to the same thing of, let's say that you hire someone and you work with someone for 3 to 4 months and for whatever reason it doesn't work out. Is that a complete waste of money? I mean, maybe it could be if they just had no idea what they were doing. But more likely, that money that you spent on that employee, you got a bunch of different processes made out and you experienced what was it like to be able to delegate that role to someone, and you probably learned a lot and your company still grew in that moment, right? Anytime that your business is investing in employees or advertising or new education, any of these things, it's always a well worth investment in your company, and you need to have that mindset. The less that you go, the less that you are investing into anything, the less return you're going to see from it, right? So if you're the type of person who's looking to only put in like $300 a month in your advertising, well then it's probably going to be expensive because you're not putting in enough to actually have any real impact, because maybe you're just doing a couple small social media posts and like some like really minimal type stuff. So you're going to get a minimal response, right? But if you're putting in a decent amount of ad spend, thousands of dollars per month, then you're likely going to see a bigger result come from that, right? And so what you put in is always what you get back. And again, anytime that you invest in your company, that's always money well worth spent, in my opinion. I've spent, like, at this point, I've spent probably $50,000 in just like education and learning about marketing, learning about contracting, learning all these things. And not all of it has been a great investment. There have been some investments where I've been like, okay, like that wasn't that good, but it's still money well spent, because I think that any money I spend on developing our company or myself is always going to be money that's going to come back in the end. So you have to have that mindset as a business owner. You have to constantly be experimenting, and you have to constantly be looking for new opportunities that can help bring you to another level. So again, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. These are the 5 common misconceptions that I want to run through about advertising. And if you have any questions, you can comment them below. I'd be happy to answer your questions. And I hope you guys have a good week, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later.